Welcome back, Scale Modelers. This is Steve. In a moment, I will show you a review of the O.R.C.A hover bike from Wildhouse Models. Here is the Hostile Realms O.R.C.A hover bike. This is the Ordnance and Reconnaissance Covert Avenger vehicle. It's in 1/32 scale. It includes 50 resin parts, 2 of which are clear resin, and a pilot figure with 2 optional heads. This can be built either in the flight mode or in the landing mode with the landing gear down. Let's have a look at the box art. This shows it in the flight mode, landing gear up. An example of the pilot figure. This represents the Hostile Realms universe from 2086. Highly detailed figure goes along with it. Top view. Stabilizer wings deployed. Can be built in either a civilian or military mode. And there is an available lighting kit for this, so you can add navigation lights, instrument lights. Let's open up the box, the side opening box. Little unique flaps with some very cool art. Scramjet technology. 180 miles per hour in the civilian mode, 175 miles an hour in civilian mode. Let's take the parts out. Inside the box is a poly bag full of resin parts. Actually has 2 bags. Smaller bag holding the fine detail parts, and larger bag with the main body parts. Included is a colorful instruction booklet, folded like a map, and included is a very large decal set for this. So this is very nice. Not only can you apply decals to the hover bike with this, but you can also use these decals on any of the other previous releases from Wildhouse Models, which is the medical console and the stasis pod. So these decals are welcome, very welcome. Very nice within register, and you can read all the writing on them. Very cool little dragon figures there. Some cool striping. So these are very good for all 3 kits if needed. Also included, just like the other previous releases, is the Working with Resin manual and it's very handy to have that. And moving on with the instructions, you do have a nice map of all the contained parts. And you can see there's lots of detail parts. They are numbered. Very good history on the bike itself. Very reminiscent. This bike, I knew this bike was coming out before I saw the bike from The Force Awakens, and a very similar technologies. So this is a welcome sight for the hostile realms. So using some of the CAD drawings combined with the sheet gives you very good details on how to assemble, and they also give you some pointers on what you can do during the assembly. So these are probably the best instructions I've seen for resin limited run kits. And you can see it shows assembled military version versus the civilian version, with less shielding on the front side as compared to the military one. Top view. So, okay, removing the parts here. And following this video, I will have close-up shots of these parts. But you can see they are finely cast details here. No holes or flaws within it. This little notch, this little hole right here by my thumb is for your navigation light. Pouring stubs for this are very small. There's one right here. Very easily cleaned up. No issues. Here's part of the military additional shielding. Once again, solid pieces and very small pouring stub on the back that will have to be cleaned up. But very little cleanup on this resin. Very nice. Here's the seat for the pilot. Nice detail there. Nice details for the cushion. Part of the bottom portion. And lots of detail here. Part of the pod for the civilian version. Very nice. Alright, let's look at the smaller bag with those parts. Alright, here's a smaller bag with the smaller, intricate, tiny pieces. And just to let you know, this is probably the first kit from Wild House Models where there are so many small, tiny pieces here. This is definitely not for the beginner, but if you want to try your first hand at resin kits, I would start with this. Probably start with the stasis pod, then go with the medical console, and then work your way to this one. There's so much that can be done with this kit. So many items that you don't have to use all these parts. You can add your own as necessary from either scratch build items or use pieces from other model kits to add on to it. So the sky's the limit with this one. You can really detail it out as needed. Here's a close-up of the handlebars. Here's the clear resin parts I was talking about. And some of the wings, landing gear components. The pilot figure right there. The arms come separately so you can pose them as you like. Very detailed torso, front and back. Very nice. So you could actually add items to him too. If you wanted to add knives, you know, tucked into his boot or into his belt line, you could do that. The arms, like I said, are posable and separate. And the heads, two different heads. We got a head with a helmet. And mask. So very nicely sculpted there. And the other head without the helmet and just the goggles. Very nice. Also included is a gun, and it looks like a radio here. So, very nice. Some of this stuff is pretty hard to cast up because of the details that are casted on them. So for example, this part here is two-sided. You have details on both sides, so which makes that very cool. So same with this shield here. So very nice kit. Highly recommend it. Some of the best resin I've seen out there. High quality resin, that is. I have some close-up photos I'll show after this review. And let's go ahead and next I'll mock up the bike and we'll see what the bike looks like. And of course, when working with resin, always wear a dust mask. And these are some of the tools of the trade. X-Acto blade, a file, a little saw, hand saw, and some snippers. And all I was doing was removing some of the sprue gates, or not the sprue gates, but the pouring stubs, smoothing them out so I can go ahead and mock up the bike for you. Here's the O.R.C.A hover bike mocked up, the civilian version. And it's very detailed, very substantial pieces of resin. And like I was saying earlier, it can be lighted. The instrument panel is clear resin on the instrument panel. And then you can actually throw your navigation lights in there. And it also has a clear headlight that can be lighted. So, very nice. I'll throw on the military paneling and we'll have a look at that. With the military paneling, these parts on both sides will come off and then this will go on over the top. So we'll look at that in a second. Here's the military version of the hover bike. Large paneling on the side there. Of course, this is all just mocked up with tape. I find that everything fit very nicely, and just a little bit of CA glue will have this thing glued together. Lots of options here. So, solid piece of resin. Very nice. And there you have it. That was the O.R.C.A hover bike from the Hostile Realms universe, 1/32 scale kit. I would like to thank Neil Wooding from Wild House Models. You can get this from his website, www.wildhousemodels.com, or those of us in the US can order it from Cult TV Man. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more reviews. And I would like to thank everybody for supporting my channel. Please subscribe. Have a nice day, and we'll see you on the bench.